Well, hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I wanted to go ahead and break open the Bible and do a devotional with you, get some of God's Word into us and make the day better, make life better. All right, so I wanted to look in the Old Testament today about the life, or at least part of the life of David. Now, actually, it's David and Saul. Uh, you can find a story that's helpful for this, and I'll let you read it yourself if you don't know it. But it's the old story of David and Goliath, where David killed a gigantic warrior for an enemy army. And David won that because God was with him. And so basically, what happens is that David and Saul are coming back. And this is kind of the order of events. What I'm looking at is in 1 Samuel 18. So I wanted to go ahead and start in verse 5. Says, whatever Saul asked David to do, David did it successfully. So Saul made him commander over the men of war, an appointment that was welcomed by the people and Saul's officers alike. When the victorious Israelite army was returning home after David killed the Philistine, women from all the towns of Israel came out to meet King Saul. They sang and danced for joy with tambourines and cymbals, and this was their song. Saul has killed his thousands, and David his 10,000s. This made Saul very angry. What's this? He said. They credit David with 10,000s and me with only thousands. Next, I'll be making him their king. So from that time on, Saul kept a jealous eye on David. All right, so here's what I really wanted to focus, because David was a flawed person. We see that later on. But at this point in life, he's pretty well hitting things out of the park left and right. We see that with David's victory over the Philistine Goliath. And we see it also with this little statement it gave us about how whatever Saul asked David to do, David did it successfully. But what Saul forgot is this simple fact that I'll get to in just a sec here. But the idea is that when they came home, there was people singing their praises, and Saul gets jealous over this. And look at what they're singing. Saul has killed his thousands, and David his 10,000s. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm a warrior and I got people saying that I've killed thousands of people, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Yeah, they may be saying that my buddy here has 10,000 kills over my 1,000, but yeah, it's still 1,000's pretty good, right? Well, it wasn't good enough for Saul. Saul forgot one thing. David and Saul were on the same team. And that's something that we forget pretty easy. It's so easy to get caught up in the comparison game because the world around us is just doing it all the time. But we only got one side. There's God's side, and then there's everyone else. And whether you realize it or not, you're on one of those sides. You're either with God or you're against God. It's that simple. And Saul was for God. He was a very imperfect person, but he was still on God's side. And David was also on God's side. So they should have been friends. Saul should have been grateful for the help, should have been glad for the company, but he wasn't. He was jealous. And so I just want to encourage you, don't get caught up in the comparison game. When somebody who's on your side wins, be glad for them. Rejoice with them because they're winning on your side, right? That's what I had for you today. Hope it helps you out. I love you. I'll see you next time.